If you do this, he will beg for you back, even if he's already with someone else, not because of games, not because of tricks, but because something ancient, powerful, and undeniable gets awakened within him. This isn't manipulation. This is mastery. Stay with me until the very end, because the final shift I'll share is the one that makes everything else inevitable. Return to center. When he walked away, it wasn't just a breakup, it was an energetic rupture. One moment, you were whole, sharing space, breath, laughter, plans, and the next, you were scattered. Pieces of you left behind in his words, his absence, his silence. In those early days, everything starts spinning. The mind begins its endless search for meaning, for closure, for something to hold on to. And the heart feels like it's been torn from its rhythm. You find yourself reaching outward, forward, backward, trying to fix what cracked, trying to stitch yourself back together through someone else's return. But this is where most women lose themselves. They forget that healing doesn't begin with his return. It begins with your own. Because when he left, he didn't just exit your life. He left with your energy. Not by force, but because you unknowingly handed it over. You made his presence the compass of your worth. You allowed his distance to become the mirror you saw yourself through. And so, you stopped being the center of your own life. This is the first truth we must confront. The path back to him does not start with him. It starts with the part of you that forgot how powerful, radiant, and magnetic you truly are. What pulls a man back is not your words. It is not your silence, your texts, your absence, your presence. It's your centeredness. It's the gravitational field of a woman who is no longer orbiting anything outside herself. When you come back home, not to your house or your friends or your timeline, but to you, he feels it, even if he swears he doesn't, even if he's with someone else, even if it's been years, because energy travels farther than any message ever could. I've seen it happen. I've watched women stop bleeding energy into the past, stop obsessing over the future, stop waiting for someone else to remember their value, and in that return to the now, something shifts. They stop acting from fear. They start breathing through the ache. They sit with the discomfort until it stops scaring them, and in that silence, that stillness, they begin to glow. Not performatively, not to provoke a response, but because they've anchored into the one place that always has power, the present. So if you're here wondering where to begin, begin there. Return to your breath. Let yourself feel. Let yourself fall apart if you need to, but don't reach for rescue. Don't grasp outward. Come inward. Because the woman who knows how to sit with herself, even in pain, is the woman who becomes magnetic. And that energy, it's the first signal he won't be able to ignore. Detach to attract. The idea of detachment often gets misunderstood. People hear it and think of coldness, distance, apathy. But real detachment is not about closing your heart. It's about keeping it open, without letting it be held hostage by someone else's confusion. It's the strength to love someone fully, without needing to possess them or control how they love you back. Detachment is fire. It's power. It's standing in the storm with both feet on the ground, saying, I can love you and still choose me. It's not passive. It's not bitter. It's not revenge. It's pure presence. And when you arrive there, truly arrive, everything starts to change. Because suddenly, your love is no longer a contract. It's an offering. It's no longer conditional. It's clean, clear, free. When you detach, you don't stop loving him. You stop needing him. And that difference, that's what changes the dynamic entirely, because need creates pressure, and pressure suffocates. But presence, that invites, it welcomes, it inspires. A man can feel when you're energetically clinging, even through silence. He can feel when you're still trying to pull him back with your thoughts, your posts, your energy. But he can also feel when you let go, when you exhale, when you stop watching the clock, stop rereading the messages, stop trying to decode every detail. That's when his mind begins to turn. That's when he starts to wonder, not because you disappeared, but because you became still, because the chaos between you faded and in its place, peace. And that peace, that's magnetic. You don't detach to manipulate him. You detach to remember yourself. And when you do, truly, you return to a place of wholeness, of power, of feminine radiance. And in that space, everything you were chasing starts to turn back toward you. Awaken your flame. There's a fire inside you that heartbreak tries to dim, not because it's gone, but because your focus turns outward. You start scanning the world for signs of him. You look at your reflection and see what he abandoned. You move through your days like a ghost of the woman you once were, lit from within, alive in your skin, unapologetically radiant. But here's the truth. He didn't fall for what you gave him. He fell for what you were. Your energy, your spark, the pulse of life that moved through you, the way you danced through your day, the wildness in your laugh, the steadiness in your gaze. That is what drew him in. That is what made him feel alive around you. And now, your task is not to wait for him to come back and reignite it. Your task is to become the fire again. You don't do this for him. You do this for you, because staying dimmed is a betrayal of the woman you were born to be. So move, dance, create, serve, breathe deeply, take up space, nourish your body, speak your truth, go where your energy rises, let life move through you again. Because masculine energy is drawn to aliveness, not performance, not perfection, but the wild, sacred fire of a woman who is lit from within. Even if he's with someone else, his soul will feel it. Even if he tries to ignore it, it will call to him. Because awakened feminine energy cannot be unfelt. And once you've awakened your flame, you'll never dim it again. Speak without speaking. You may think you need to reach out. You may think the perfect text will bring him back. But energy speaks louder than words, always. When your energy is aligned, you don't need to say a word. Your silence becomes a transmission. It vibrates with truth. It carries a message that says, I am whole now, and if you wish to meet me, you must rise. That is the invitation no true man can resist. It's not bait, it's not a test, it's a frequency shift. And when he feels it, truly feels it, he begins to question everything. His current relationship, his choices, the story he told himself about who you were. Because suddenly the old version of you, the one who would have begged, chased, explained, is gone. And in her place, a woman he barely recognizes. A woman who glows with groundedness, who radiates presence, who feels bigger than the pain, wiser than the past, and no longer shaped by his absence. That is what stirs him. That is what makes him reach. But here's the part most women forget. Even if he doesn't reach out, you've still won. Because you're no longer waiting. You're no longer hoping someone else remembers your worth. You've already claimed it. You've become the chooser. And from that energy, everything changes. Become the mountain. There is a kind of stillness that isn't passive. It's not empty. It's not about doing nothing. It's about becoming everything. Rooted, calm, strong. Like the mountain, unmoved by weather, unwavering through storms, silently powerful. When you stop reacting to every trigger, when you stop collapsing into every wave of emotion, you rise into that place. Still, present, whole. From that space, he sees you again, but not the same you. Not the one who shattered under his absence, not the one who waited by the door of his return. He sees the version of you who remembered, who integrated the pain, who used the silence to transform. And that energy, that's unforgettable. Even if he's with someone else, he will feel it. Because no external relationship can replicate the feeling of home. And when you've become home, not for him, but for yourself, you become etched into his soul. He may try to forget, but he never will. So stop chasing, stop explaining, stop asking to be seen. Stand still. Let your silence speak. Let your energy rise. Let the mountain within you become the thing that makes everything else, including him, shift.